We're moving on to the future of video content packaging. I am Tom Sauer. I'm the Chief Development Officer with Zone TV. Talk a little bit about what we think is needed in the industry, especially as it relates to the current pay TV providers, and how we believe that they can move to a new level in retaining their customers and continuing to serve in a capacity that allows them to continue to grow and be competitive. So a little bit about Zone TV, just real quick here. Zone TV is redefining the TV environment by delivering personalized entertainment experiences. We're changing the way linear TV channels are created and delivered as what we call dynamic channels. We're using AI and human knowledge to curate new channels, and then we use machine language, rich metadata, and analytics to predict and create personalized experiences, and we'll go through that. We also have the largest collection of SVOD channels and libraries out there. We service customers across 38 million households today. You see the list there of customers that we, or of operators that we work with today. And some of you may know Zone TV out there through an application called Santa Tracker, very prevalent application that's been around for quite a number of years. We've actually been around for about 15 years. We're excited to move to a new level don't want to do that. Let's go back. Didn't realize that started that like that. So what I want to do is show a quick little sizzle reel and kind of get you thinking about a new way of thinking about content and the delivery of content. So if there's one thing I would like you to take away from that video is the more you love, the more you learn. The more we learn. The more you love, the more we learn. The more we learn, the better we can predict. The better we can predict, the better personalization we can deliver. So this is all about how we use AI machine learning to create a better prediction model to create better personalization for the consumer. We'll talk through that as we go through the deck here. So obviously today, everyone's well aware there's a ton of swirl out there amongst the industry. The TV operators are challenged, right? We've got new entrants coming in from the OTT side as TV providers, the Direct TV Nows of the world and so forth. We've got a ton of content companies that are going out with their own SVOD packages. So a lot of swirl out there, a lot of difficulty for consumers to discover that content and determine what they want now. So we've moved from this world of being confined in the pay TV space now to a much broader world, a lot more consumer choice, but there is a lot of work on the consumer's part now to figure out what they want and where they're going to put their time and effort in choosing their packages. So this panel, or this talks a little bit about traditional TV, right? Traditional TV providers today are challenged. They need to innovate, right? They're losing out in growth to the OTT pay TV guys out there, to the new SVODs. Their margins are shrinking, as we know, continue to shrink over time. And customer satisfaction's low. We've got a lot of issues in the pay TV space for these guys to overcome that the digital guys, the new guys out there are overcoming because of their ability to be everywhere, apps very simple to download and use, Roku, other devices out there quickly and easily accessible. So when we think about this, and with respect to television needing an overhaul, it really does. That old TV needs an overhaul. It's been unchanged for the last 20 years. There's been no personalization, right? The network really controls how things are programmed and how they're brought to the consumer. On the other side of the coin, for the most part, the new guys out there, what we call new TV, has broken a lot of those barriers. So we have some personalization, we have some collaborative recommendation capabilities, but we still have this endless searching problem out there. So we've got the plethora of content. They're making a lot of inroads. Some of these old TV guys are transitioning into this new TV space by launching apps such as DirecTV Now or Sling in the case of Dish. But what's really needed is we've got to move to what we call next-gen TV. We really need an effortless experience. We can create that through using some of the new capabilities out there, using AI-curated channels that allow channels to be quickly curated and deployed, as well as uniquely personalized by the consumers. So, is old TV dead? No, it's not dead at all, right? Old TV still has 5 times more viewership than the new TV, right? Even though the new TV world, the new pay TV providers, OTT's growing like crazy. I thought this was an interesting statistic that millennials still watch 2x more video on old TV than they do on the new TV. That was surprising to me. And then, as we all know, old TV still has a tremendous more revenue than the new TV space. We're seeing ad dollars shift. We're seeing subscriptions increase. But also, when you look at the price of those subscriptions on the new TV space versus the old TV, and you look at the ad revenue on the new versus the old, there's still quite a bit of disparity between the two. So we've got to create a way for these old TV guys to be relevant in this new space. And that's what we're doing. And the solution there is to create an intelligent, new, modernized way to create a personalized TV network. And we believe that it takes 4 key enablers to do that. We've got to have enhanced metadata, which we'll talk a little bit about and why that's important. We believe that AI-driven content curation is important because this allows channels to be created quickly, efficiently on the fly without a tremendous amount of human involvement, although human involvement is still important. It also allows us to create personalized viewing experiences. So what if the viewer could go out there and create their own channel on the fly? Why can't they do that today? They should be able to. If I'm watching something and I want to watch something even more relevant or relevant to what I'm currently watching, why can't we just create a new channel on the fly for them? And then we've got to have some new business models around this as we move into this new space. So obviously you need an end-to-end platform to manage and create that new personalized experience. We partnered with a couple of folks in the industry, Uyala being one on the CMS side and Microsoft being the other on the cognitive services side, to build coupled with our proprietary services and AI engine, we've built what we believe is that next generation personalized AI curated content delivery platform. But in order, as I mentioned before, enhanced metadata is critically important to how we go about creating and understanding what type of video is being watched. The other piece that's critically important here is what is the consumer doing? What is the viewer doing? What are they watching? And so that feedback loop coming back from their viewing and the analytics around that, feeding back into a machine learning algorithm is absolutely critical to drive and create this new experience. So let's talk first about the metadata piece. So today, when you look at a piece primarily of digital content, metadata is extremely limited, if it even exists at all. So in this case, we see here we've got a red car. It's a Chevrolet, and it probably has something to do with racing, although it may not. That's the metadata that we received from the content provider about this particular video. Very, very limited. So what if we were able to use the new video indexing capability of Microsoft and some other cognitive service capabilities to create a new level of metadata? So if you see here, by passing off that video and letting one of these new engines analyze that video, we come back with a lot more metadata about that particular vehicle. Specifically, we've got context around the geo on it, where it's located, New York, right? We've identified through facial recognition the people in that. We've identified that the type of vehicle, so it's a Ford, it's a car, and we've identified some of the landscape characteristics that might help us then determine where or why this particular video is taking place, or some sentiment about that video. Now, interestingly, and then the other thing that comes back is the rating on this. Because we are able to, using the cognitive service capability and the video indexing from Microsoft, we also get full audio to text translation. So through that, then we can extract even additional metadata, as well as determine rating on this. So you notice that's TV PG. Typically, it would be TV 14 here in the States. We're a Canadian company, so it's TV PG in Canada. Does anyone notice anything wrong about, or anything wrong with this picture here? Any car buffs? Up at the top it says Ford Cobra. That's not a Cobra. It's actually a GT. So what happened was, when we received the metadata on this particular video, it came in as Ford Cobra, and we left it. Now, what we would hope is that through the machine learning, or through the video indexing, that we would get back information that says, hey, this is really a different car than a Ford Cobra. And then, of course, a human could make that change within the metadata. That's a good example of how important and critical additional metadata will be as you start to think about AI and machine learning and additional capabilities. So let's go back and talk a little bit about this from an architecture perspective. So we use Uyala in our architecture for our CMS, right? There's lots of CMSs out there, no reason to go and develop a new CMS. But they have a very advanced workflow capability, which allows us to do a lot of things that many other CMSs would not allow us to do, especially as it relates to getting that content prepped and ready for our proprietary tools there in the middle. So we use the Microsoft Video Indexer. We get back all that great metadata information, pass it off to our tools. Now, what do our tools do? We take and use a machine learning algorithms to actually take that metadata, those analytics that come back from the consumer, and we learn and we train on what those consumers are viewing and what they like. We then turn around and we use that, actually one other thing we take in, you'll see signal network down there. So we take in information from what's trending, social media, what's going on with Twitter today, and we cluster that. We use that as an input to our proprietary machine learning engine. That combined allows us to do two things. One, it allows us to take that content that we bring into our system and create channels automatically without the human curation process. Once those channels are created, let's say it's a foodie channel, and we've taken in a whole bunch of content, we've created 30 different what we call show streams or channels. We then let a human look at them. Humans still have specific knowledge and an understanding that we believe that the machine learning capabilities in AI does not have today. They can then make the changes, and now you have a new channel in literally minutes to distribute. On the other side of this, what if you use that same capability and you let the consumer, the viewer, reprogram that channel? So if they're watching a channel on baking and they're watching about chocolate chip cookies and they say, hey, I'd love to see more about baking with chocolate, and they could click on a button and that channel would be reprogrammed based on their viewing habits, based on what they've been watching, based on additional metadata that we have in the engine, and boom, reprogram that channel, and now they're watching a new personalized channel. So this is bringing the next level. So what if the TV provider could actually, now the old TV provider, bring that new linear TV or dynamic channel capability to their viewer? The last piece of this that we believe is critically important is there's got to be a change in the business model. We believe that a revenue share model where it's a low cost of entry for the distributors to get into, there's no big MGs, there's no cost per subscriber, goes a lot further along than what is the traditional business model today. Now, that's not to say that Disney's changing, AMC, A&E is changing anything the way that they're doing this, but there's a lot more content out there that can be brought to this into the pay TV space, into that old TV space. This is the model we believe to bring that content in. Co-marketing, critical, right? Everyone's got to have skin in the game. We need both the content provider who knows their content and the distributor to be out there marketing. Subscription-based, we believe subscription and advertising, targeted advertising, are both critical to driving the value chain here and driving the monetization around this, right? And then lastly, we believe that the distributors themselves or the operators should have the ability to create their own channels. So why not give them the ability to create the channel? We can create the channel. The operator, distributor should be able to create the channel, and the viewer should be able to create the channel. Obviously, different levels of channel creation there, but everybody should be able to participate in that new creation and value chain. So the result of all this in our world as Zone TV is personalized TV networks. And the result of what you saw from that architecture diagram comes out in really 4 different areas. Those personalized channels that we create, we call show streams. So now we've got, let's say, 30 show streams out there. We also believe that the consumer should have much more control over what they're watching. So we've got what we call layered channels. So this would be, think about a channel within a channel. If I tune to a foodies channel and I'm watching something on baking, but I really don't really care about baking. I want to see what's going on, and I want to understand, I want to see barbecue. So why shouldn't I be able to find barbecue? Well, we allow since the way this is programmed, so it can be a barbecue show stream, there can be a cookie show stream, there can be a pastry show stream. By clicking up or down, we can navigate vertically through different channels. We've also gotten rid of the day part, right? So why not be able to move right or left through that day part to watch the video you want to watch? So deeper navigation or navigation to the consumer. And then the other piece to this is what we call zonify, which is what I talked about earlier, is why not allow the viewer the ability to create their own channels? So I can, what we call zonify, I'm watching that foodies channel, I'm watching baking with cookies, and I zonify, and now all of a sudden I have a new channel that is personalized to me based on my viewing habits, who I might be, whatever enhanced metadata that we've collected, reprogram that channel, boom, now they're watching about baking primarily with chocolate. All of that feedback that happens, we continue, all of the watching and the viewing and what we call the loving, going back to that video, comes back in. It's what continues to feed, excuse me, our machine learning algorithms, which then allows the system to get smarter and build better channels as we move forward. Today, Zone actually, we have we work with about 130 different branded networks or brands out there. We have ingested about 70,000 shows and 8,000 hours of content. So you can imagine trying to sift through that. If a consumer is trying to sift through that, which we all do on YouTube from time to time and get caught in that swirl of clicking on things of what they think we want to watch next, bringing that into an intelligent platform and then distributing that out through a set of genre-based channels. But again, as I mentioned, why not let the pay TV provider, the operator, create their own channels as well and bring those to market? Now, we do this all over the top, out of band, so it comes over the broadband network. There's no need for new hardware. There's no need for any changes in their infrastructure. It's all cloud-based delivery. So long as you've got a good CDN and reasonable latency, we're all good from a delivery perspective. So this is really marrying what is happening today in that digital space and the digital delivery into the traditional TV space and allowing those traditional TV providers now to have a new set of capabilities and experiences that they can bring to their consumers that are much more akin to what someone might see in the digital space. So we still think that the pay TV operators are going to play an important role for a long time. I don't see them going away. There's going to be shifts and there's going to be changes in how TV's delivered, but we've got a long runway. We all know that customers want great content and they want to be able to discover it quickly and easily. We believe that this is at least the first step to that next generation of TV and filling that gap. We also believe that we've got to create more dynamism within that old TV space. And we believe that this is a first step in creating that next level of dynamic nature. And for us, we think, really this is a great time to be in the TV business. There's a lot going on, a lot of swirl out there, and a lot of things that we can still accomplish both independently and collectively as an industry. So with that, I will take some questions before we're out of time. Yeah.
Tom, as an early adopter of the AI platform, the indexer from Microsoft, what type of accuracy experience do you have just reflecting back in terms of your platform?
So we have been one of the early, I guess, users of Video Indexer, and so far what we've seen accuracy-wise is pretty spot on. I mean, it is returning to us fairly high accuracy with the metadata enhancement. I think they'll continue to work and refine the audio to text piece I mean, it's good, but you know, you can see from time to time there may be an issue or two. I think the biggest thing today is the ratings piece. So how do we really get good ratings back? Because basically ratings are coming back through not only some of the, you know, was there nudity or was there foul language or something like that, but I think as an industry and as we see the proliferation of more digital content coming into the TV space, we've really got to figure out this rating piece so that it can be better managed as we get more and more data. I think that's probably the biggest area. Oh, yeah.
How do you scale? For example, if you have 1 million subscribers, you say to rely on the CDN. Do you have any specific techniques to optimize the CDN caching efficiency?
So we don't, simply put. You know, we really do rely on that piece of the industry to solve that problem and to figure out the lower latency and the placement of those. Obviously, working with companies like Akamai and so forth, we don't anticipate seeing issues, but until you get to that million point and you start to figure out and understand that, obviously may be an issue. But we hope that the CDN providers out there will figure out how to solve those latency issues and those buffering issues. And today, you know, if you think about it, Netflix isn't too bad, and it's hit pretty hard. Amazon's hit pretty hard, not too bad. So we believe that if we're...
And Netflix, it's as well, when you have live channels, basically you have the same content distributed to everyone. When Netflix has a new show, everyone is watching the new show in the first
Right.
weeks. When you have a personalized channel, the complexity and all the variety of different combinations is much higher.
Yes. Yeah, so a lot of pre-placement out there, right? A lot of predictive needs to be done in order so that those assets are on the relevant edge points. So absolutely. Still a need. We'll see how that evolves. Anything else?
All right, fantastic. Let's give Tom a hand. Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you.